Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction, which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Councilor Leahy.
Here.
Councilor Leary.
Here.
Councilor Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Rourke.
Here.
Councilor Samaras.
Here.
Councilor Belanger.
Here.
9 present.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber for Walter F. Wally Bayless, Jr., a proud United States Army Vietnam War veteran, retired funeral director, and dedicated community leader. He was the beloved husband of Ingrid Bayless, with whom he shared 47 years of marriage. Mr. Bayless enlisted in the United States Army and served with memorial activities, graves, registration of the 4th Infantry Division. In addition to receiving the National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, and Vietnam Campaign Medal, he was awarded the Bronze Star with the V device for heroism in ground combat. He was honorably discharged in 1970. While he met his wife Ingrid, his lovey, while attended embalming school, they married and settled in Lowell to raise their family. I asked Wally, how did you settle in Lowell, being from Fall River and all? And he said, Ingrid came from Keene, New Hampshire, I came from Fall River, and we picked a spot on the map that was in the middle, and it was Lowell. We are so grateful that spot didn't land them in Haverhill. Lowell was blessed to have known him. Every Halloween, he would transform his garage at the funeral home into a huge magical event and pass out candy, popcorn, and trick-or-treats. Trick-or-treaters were so grateful for his enormous generosity and Halloween spirit. After serving in Vietnam, he joined Bob Morse's team at the Morse Funeral Home as managing director. While he purchased the firm in 1976, and as owner of the now Morse Bayless Funeral Home, he served Lowell's grieving families with compassion and dignity until 2006, when he semi-retired due to health concerns. In 2008, he entrusted ownership to his longtime friend and business partner, funeral director Fred Haley. His compassion for veterans and love of Lowell was second to none, and his contributions were many. Most notably, he served as member of the chair of the License Commission for over 20 years, was a member of the Lowell Veterans Council past commander and the Rotary past president, Kiwanis Citizens of the Year, East End and Old Scouts Club. He was a member of the VFW Walker Rogers Post 662, American Legion Post 245, Disabled American Veterans Bill Rickett Chapter 47, Tingsboro, and Lowell Sportsman Club, and the Aleppo Shriners. He served on the board of the Selected Service System for over 20 years. He was a communicant of St. Margaret's Church. Wally was instrumental in bringing the Vietnam Moving Wall exhibit to Lowell and spearheaded the Memorial Avenue of Flags project. He led local efforts to celebrate veterans returning home from Operation Desert Storm. Examples of his patriotism were many, including his homemade floats that graced the streets of local parades and yearly tradition of offering American flags to families of service members buried in Lowell cemeteries to commemorate Memorial Day. In his later years, he was committed to helping veterans at the Lowell VA who had unmet needs. Wally's dedication to supporting his fellow veterans was unwavering even after his health declined. As a Shriner, Wally instituted a pull-tab recycle program with his grandson, Ben. As a result, pull tabs from beverages and soup cans are collected at senior centers, Rotary clubs, American Legion, Post Sportsman's Club, and local supermarkets throughout the area, All the monies raised help funds the Shriners Children's Transportation Fund, which provides life-saving medical flights and ground transportation to Shriners Hospital for children all over the world. Wally was a longtime member of the William North Masonic Lodge, AF and AM, in Lowell. He was especially proud of receiving the prestigious 33rd degree, the highest honor bestowed on Scottish Rites Masons for extraordinary service conferred by the Supreme Council. Wally cherished time with his beloved grandchildren. Gumper was a dedicated volunteer at their school activities between sports, recitals, and fundraisers. He was a fixture in the stands cheering them on. Gumper was their #1 fan. So the next time you stop at the Owl Diner, remember his larger-than-life, "How are ya?" greeting. Tell one of the greatest stories that you know to a friend. Thank a veteran. Save those pull tabs. And most of all, pay it forward, Walter Bayless style. Remember one thing, we lost a great man. His favorite slogan was from former President Ronald Reagan, who said, "We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone." In addition to Lovey, his beloved wife Ingrid, he is survived by 2 daughters, Heather Reyes and her husband Daniel, Erica Zame and her husband Stephen, and Gumper's favorite kids, Parker and Ingrid Reyes and Benjamin Zame. We offer our sympathy to his family, relatives, and many friends. He will be truly missed. Thank you for letting me go on, but he was a great man, and he deserved every minute that I put into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Being before 7 o'clock, we'll skip ahead with the public hearings and go to communications from the city manager. This evening, we have, the first order of business is acceptance of the minutes of the meeting of November 1st for acceptance. We have a motion by Councilor Samara, second by Councilor Rourke to accept the minutes and place on file. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Now we'll go to communications from the city manager. We have items A through D this evening. The item A is the Mammoth Road crosswalk. Any discussion on the Mammoth Road crosswalk? Councilor Samaras.
No, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the city manager and his staff for quick action on a safety issue. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion on item A? If not, we'll go to item B, the rooming house inspections. Any discussion? Councilor Elliott.
Just briefly, thank you for the report, Mr. Manager. It seems like a majority of the rooming houses are owned by one particular family. So I hope we can stay vigilant on these because, in my opinion, they're not in great condition. They do need inspection and some work. So thank you for the report, and look forward to keeping, especially in that one corridor where I think you know where I'm talking about, Mr. Manager. It's an area where we've made investment, and these rooming houses can use some significant attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on item B? If not, we'll move on to item C, which is a letter from the National Park Service. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The reason I included this is because I think it's so time sensitive with us voting on the deployment of security cameras in the city. And one of the points I made was that the cameras aren't just for the police to use for surveilling crime, but also there are many other reasons to use it, like illegal dumping. And here's a perfect example of using these cameras in a very positive way all over the city. So I'd just like to congratulate the members of the development services that participated in this and that we were able to make the national park a better place.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Any further discussion on this? Councilor Mercia.
I just want to elaborate a little bit further on what our manager just said. By having cameras up in a specific spot, They identified 4 individuals in the act of vandalism, and they will begin the process of prosecuting and restitution. This particular area, and that a picket fence was destroyed not 1 time, 7 times. 7 times. Imagine if you were that homeowner or that business owner and your fence was destroyed maybe twice. This happened 7 times, and because of the repeated violence to this particular individual, they found out who these 4 people were. That's what the cameras are all about, and that's why we supported it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? If not, we'll move on to item D, the fee schedule. Mr. Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Through you to the members of the council. This is a result of a motion by Councilor Leahy for us to look into surrounding communities and their fee structures and whether we're on the same level as the surrounding communities. It's a great motion because it allowed us to look at all of the fees that we charge, and we have brought them up to levels that are commensurate with surrounding towns, and also that we think are fair and reasonable for the city. You'll see, I think one that stands out with a red flag is the increase in the registration fee for foreclosed properties, and that's we raised that from $100 a year to $1,000 a year. And the reason we did that is that as an incentive for these banks to sell these houses, just don't keep them abandoned for years and years at only $100 a year. So we're also not only looking at making fees reasonable, but also making them get a good result for us in the end. So we're asking that this be referred to the Finance Subcommittee, where we could make a full presentation on the fees and answer detailed questions about each and every fee that you might have a question about.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just what I'm talking about on Andover Street. There's a beautiful home there. It's completely empty, and every now and then we have to get the city to cut the grass because it's like so high. It's unsightly, and I just want to know, is the bank ever gonna, what are they gonna do with it? Just leave it empty? Some family would do well there if it isn't full of, I don't know, mildew or whatever the problem is. I don't know what the problem is. It's a shame that you go by and it's completely empty all the time, not being cared for or anything.
Mr. Manager.
I always said the banks aren't in the real estate business, they're in the lending business, and they don't know, they're not suited to deal with selling property, so that's why they remain on the, without being sold for so many years. So we think by increasing the fee to register it is going to be a real incentive to the bank to flip these properties as quickly as they can. So that's why we're doing it. And I think properties like that will be sold quicker.
Well, we ought to put forth a monthly fee until they do flip it. Maybe they would want to do it quicker. Anyway.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the manager. Mr. Manager, I'm looking on the document on the fines and penalties, and it has the illegal dumping pursuant to 270-7. I did file the motion on this a few weeks ago and haven't heard back yet, but I'm just curious. I had asked that we increase the fees and also look at the possibility, like what Lawrence did, to make it a criminal offense or attach it to someone's driver's license that is caught in multiple times or whatnot. Is that something that's still under review, which we get back soon?
Sure. The reason we didn't respond to the motion is because since it was a fee, we included it in this omnibus fee schedule. But we'll give you a report relative to that particular fee. We'll pull that one out and talk about how we can enforce the fee in a better way.
Yeah, just now with the cameras going up and
Right.
the city having more accessibility to find out who's doing the dumping, maybe
Right.
The first time is
Right.
severe. Thank you,
So
Mr. Mayor.
we'll respond to that.
Thank you, Councilor. There's no motion on the floor. Do we have a motion to refer this to the, Councilor Elliott and Councilor Leahy?
Yeah, sure, I'll make that motion to send it to the Finance Subcommittee.
Okay. Is second to the motion by Councilor Leahy?
On the motion, through you to the managers, Mr. Manager, I'm presuming that, and perhaps we can get this information for the Finance Subcommittee, that we see an increase, because a lot of these require either administrative costs that certainly go up, but also routine inspections. So I'd like to see some offset, and just to let people and businesses know, look, we're not just jacking fees up because we want to raise revenue, that there is some associated costs. We haven't done this in quite some time, and within that particular time frame, we've seen an increase in costs. I think a good example is probably the clerk's office. Mr. Clerk, I see there's an increase in, it's $5 to get an abstract from the birth certificate, and that's going up to 20, right? I mean, there's a couple of adjustments.
Yeah, I don't think it is rising somewhat. I've taken a review of different communities throughout the Commonwealth, and it's standard what they are. The issue we have is that we put it on paper that really isn't suitable for that type of vital record to be put out, because the seal goes through the paper. So as part of that fee, we're getting increased bond paper, and it's very expensive, Counselor. So the fee has to kind of adjust, as you said, to what the costs are adjusted.
Yeah, and I think that's not, it's fair to the people that need that information. We're not trying to be unreasonable, but it's not fair to put that cost onto the taxpayers, including, and I was pleased to see that, increase in the fee from foreclosures, because I think those are costs that we are absorbing now, that it's clearly not fair and that we have to adjust. So. And then there are some that are going down, and then there are a number of additions that there are no fees, and to some degree, even if it's nominal or marginal, they should be assessed. So I think just knowing some additional information on what the city's costs are on some of these would be helpful, to show the public and the users this is why we're raising them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Leahy.
Thank you. I just want, through you to the manager, that this is a good report, and when we get to subcommittee to discuss it. And as Councilor Elliott said, some of the fees have gone down, some have gone up to adjust to the times. So I thought that, it was a time to take a look at these. And I was just wondering for the subcommittee meeting, if we could just get maybe an estimate of what you think this will do to help the city out, financially. So just a rough idea, because you never know. Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
Do you mean as far as a revenue producing to offset increased costs?
Because we were, speaking to different people that come in for licenses or building permits and fees and stuff like that, and telling me that, Lowell seems to be very reasonable and below the market rate. So just curious if we had some sort of a figure where we
actually
might go up.
We'll be able to do that, because the perfect example of what you and the councilors are talking about is our tax increment financing agreements. They've gotten so much more convoluted and requiring a lot of time spent by our employees at DPD to put together that what we've done is we've raised the fee for a TIF commensurate with the amount of time that we've spent on the recent TIFs that we've given. So this is timely to be able to give you that type of analysis.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion? All opposed? So voted. Chair would entertain a motion to accept and place on file all of the communications from the city manager.
So move.
The motion to that effect by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Leary. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Next, we have a communication from the manager appointing Joseph Bond and Christine Kem to the Lowell Cultural Council.
Move approval.
Need a motion to approve and place on file by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Leary. Discussion. All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Mr. Manager, should they come up in?
Yes, could I ask you to come up to the podium and then introduce yourself, and thank you very much for your service to the city.
Councilman, Mayor, City Manager. My name is Joseph Bond. I've been resident Lowell Masters for the past 29 years. My brother and I co-own Sizzling Kitchen down the street, so if you ever get hungry, come on down. We just got our beer and wine license, so, we'll take care of you. But I was an educator in Lowell for a long time. I was part of the Boys and Girls Club as their senior program director for the past 4.5 years. Now I'm over at Entrepreneurship for All, making sure that entrepreneurs in Lowell get their business up and running. So I'm very happy, and I hope to serve the Lowell Council well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi all, I'm Christina Kem. I was born and raised here in Lowell, and I'm part of the cultural organization of Lowell. I was referred by James Ostis here And I've always been a firm believer of arts and culture here in Lowell. I believe creativity sparks the economy, and I'm very honored to become a board member here of the Lowell Cultural Council. Thank you.
Next is a vote from the city manager authorizing the city manager to execute a limited access agreement between the City of Lowell and Habitat for Humanity of Greater Lowell Incorporated relative to 16 Franklin Street. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, which is authorizing the city manager to execute a limited access agreement between the City of Lowell and the Habitat for Humanity of Greater Lowell Incorporated relative to 16 Franklin Street. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
That's 9 yeas.
Next, we have a vote declaring declaring surplus property located at 16 Hampshire Street, Lowell, Mass. To be used as a temporary expanded part of the city's community garden program, and further authorizing the demolition of the Waterworks building on the same parcel. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading. Declaring surplus property located at 16 Hampshire Street, Lowell, Mass. To be used as a temporary expanded part of the city's community garden program, and further authorizing the demolition of the Waterworks building on the same parcel. Do we have a motion to approve by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Rourke? Discussion on the motion? Councilor Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the manager. Mr. Manager, thank you very much for getting this to us. Ever since this was brought up to your office back in June, you've worked very quickly and hard on this to get the funding available for the neighborhood. Hopefully they saw this in the packet. I mean, it's terrific news for what's going to be replaced in there. We had a subcommittee meeting there, and you have contacted multiple councilors concerning this. So a special thanks to yourself and to the administration for getting this done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Samaras.
Thank you. I also echo what Councilor Rourke stated. Thank you for taking the action that you did and the way it was handled. Mr. Manager, do you have a timeline for the demolition of that building?
Mr. Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Yes, we've gotten the revenue source to take it down. We sold that property on Lawrence Street. So that's the amount of money that we need to take it down. But I don't want to take it down right now and then just have an empty lot there for months and months and months. What we want to do is we're going to put it out to a request for proposal, and then we'll take it down in the spring. And then at that point in time, we'll have Mill City Grows come in and start constructing their community gardens so that it isn't an empty lot. So I think it's the best plan to do, and I think it'll make the neighborhood look so much better if we do it in that process.
Thank you.
Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo the comments of Councilor Rourke that I want to extend thanks to the manager and his administration for this great initiative for the Centerville neighborhood. The Eagle Park there had issues summer of 2015. There was a very violent act there. And the city council met with the neighborhood group there, and we consequently took action by enhancing lighting and installing video cameras. And I don't believe there's been an incident on record since, and we're getting well over 15 months. So I just want to ensure, Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, that the video surveillance is attached to that building, so that will persist when the building is raised, Mr. Manager?
Yes, it will.
Okay, great, because it's done so much for that neighborhood. That park is now truly an asset to that neighborhood and the kids in it, and this will only make it a better place. So thank you, Mr. Manager. It's a good win for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
I just wanted to add, this has been a long time coming. I can't remember the first time I saw this motion, but considering how many urban gardens and the proliferation of urban gardening in this city, it's really terrific, and this is going to be a very good addition for that neighborhood, and the ability to have community gardening, and it helps to bring the community back. So this is a good step. This is a good move, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
As I said a couple of weeks ago, Councilor, it's a little slowly turning into a farming community, one parcel at a time.
One parcel at a time.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Not to belay this or to keep adding to it, but the Centerville group is gonna be very happy with you that that's finally coming down, so they'll probably have a big party for you in the spring. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next is an ordinance to create one new grant-funded position entitled Substance Abuse Coordinator and establish a salary in the Health and Human Services Department. This matter would be sent to public hearing for November 22nd, 2016 at 7 p.m. Do we have a motion to send it to public hearing by Council Rourke, second by Council Leary? Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under subcommittee reports, we have a report from the zoning subcommittee for November 8th, 2016.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The zoning subcommittee met at 5:30 this evening to review the proposed zoning amendments from Developmental Services. On hand, myself, Council Belanger, and Council Rourke as members of the subcommittee. We also had Council Mercier, Council Leary, Council Leahy, Council Elliott, and Council Samaras. We also had representatives from the neighborhood groups here this evening. Presentation, which was started by City Manager Murphy and then picked up by Developmental Service Director Eric Slagle, and we had Christine O'Connor here as well. What we have before us, we have a draft of proposed changes. In fact, I believe there are 6 categories, and the members of the public that were here did congratulate the administration, specifically Developmental Services, on all of the hard work that went into this document. But tonight's meeting was really the first of what will probably be many meetings, because we're looking at things to be added as uses to the zoning code. We're looking at things that added to accessory uses, added to definitions, revised sections. Again, the document itself was about 18 pages long. Improved permitting efficiencies, and then the last one has to do with economic development opportunity, expansion opportunities. Again, all to be added to the zoning code. So what we did is we actually went over the accessory dwelling units as well as the adult daycare facility this evening. We had a very good back and forth with the administration as well as the representatives from the public. We ended up recessing the meeting because, as I indicated, this will not be done in 1 or 2 meetings. This is going to take us some time to go through. We want to make sure that we do outreach to all of the neighborhood groups in order to get their input into these very important proposed amendments to the zoning code. So that, Mr. Mayor, is a report of progress. Again, if any of my colleagues want to add anything, we are going to schedule another meeting, probably more than an hour, if it's okay with the members of the subcommittee, because tonight we were here for now. We get through 2 of what really is many pages of improvements being recommended by Development Services. So again, that's my report of progress, and we will schedule our work with the city clerk and schedule a follow-up subcommittee meeting in the very near future.
Thank you, Councilor. Any discussions? We have a motion by Councilor Milonazo to accept the report as a report of progress. Second by Councilor Rourke. Discussion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Being 7 o'clock, we'll skip back to item 2.1, which is a public hearing for National Grid requesting permission to install one pole on the east side of the intersection of Lawrence Street and Andrew Street near 706 Lawrence Street. We'll open the hearing for those who wish to speak in favor. In favor. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, David Boucher, Senior Designer at National Grid, 1101 Turnpike Street in North Andover, Mass. We're currently, as always, upgrading a lot of our facilities to meet the needs of our customers, and we'd like to change the wires going down Lawrence Street. In order to do that, we need some support with the new pole location. It would support our pole line and meet the needs to support it and make it safe going forward. And if the city sees fit, it would enable us to place pole number 34-51 on Lawrence Street, as shown on the drawing we've provided.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak in favor? In favor?
Good evening, Lisa DeMayo, City Engineer. This request from National Grid is in support of Markley. So because of that, the Engineer's Office also supports it.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, we'll close the Hearing on behalf of the proponents and open it up for those who wish to speak in opposition. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? In opposition, opposition, opposition. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing. For those who wish to speak in opposition, open up to the city council. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a motion approved
Motion
by
to
Councilor
approve.
Mercia, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion on the motion? Oh, and send it to the wire inspector for report. Will be part of the motion. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, is it possible I could ask this gentleman from National Grid about a previous pole location at the corner of Gorham and Livingston where we had Mr. King? Is that going to be settled? Do we have any answer for the pole that was so close that they couldn't turn their trucks? And I said before that happened, could we revisit that again? Do we have any answer to that?
We had an initial meeting. We've had some difficulties resolving it, but we're going to resolve it, but we need a little additional time. But Mr. McGovern is working with National Grid and Mr. King to resolve his issue, and we hope to have a solution very shortly.
You don't want me to come in on that meeting?
No.
That's okay.
I said we ought to resolve it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. And I'm not trying to kill the messenger, so don't take this personal, all right?
No,
All right.
problem at all.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call? No roll call required. All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Next, we go to petitions. We have one property claim. Chair would entertain a motion referred to the Law Department for report and recommendation by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Milonazo. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Next, under miscellaneous, we have Wesang Chan for Majid Khalaf. I apologize if I destroyed those names. Request the installation of one handicap parking sign at 34 Hampshire Street. The motion referred to the traffic engineer for report and recommendation by Council Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Council Mercia.
Plus amended to be a 60-day trial before
for-
the bad weather comes.
For 60 days.
Thank you.
Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, we have from National Grid, request permission to relocate a pole at 35 Carter Street. Chair would entertain a motion to waive the full first reading and refer it to a public hearing on November 22nd, 2016 at 7 p.m. We have a motion to that effect by Councilor Leary, second by Councilor Leahy. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, by National Grid, we have permission to relocate a pole at the corner of Westford Street and School Street. Chair would entertain a motion to waive the full first reading and refer to a public hearing for November 22nd, 2016 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Samaras, second by Councilor Leahy. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, by National Grid, request, Councilor Leahy.
Sorry, are you done? I just had a quick question on polls.
Well, I've got one left, but
Oh,
go
all
ahead.
right, go ahead, finish that one, then I have a question.
Request permission to install a joint pole owned at the corner of Willie and Franklin Street. Chair will entertain a motion to waive the full first reading and send it to a public hearing for November 22nd at 2016 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Leahy, second by Councilor Leary. Discussion on the motion. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. How are you? Through you to the manager, just had a quick question. There seems to be a few poles that I've noticed throughout the city, and I'm sure everyone else has. I don't know whose wires they are, but it seems like it could be a cable wire or a phone wire, most likely, and they seem to be dropped down, and then they're just wrapped around the poles. Could we have whatever department look into that? It seems to be the common trend now. Instead of whoever wire it is to disconnect it at the top, they just seem to wrap them around. And have you noticed any? Yeah. Okay.
Especially on Chelmsford Street. And
Yeah. So maybe
Because
we
they
could
did a
put
lot
Mr.
of work.
McGovern on that.
Yeah, he'll be there tomorrow. But they did a lot of work there this summer, but they haven't completed it yet, so I've noticed it, yes, and we're following up with that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Next, under City Council motions, we have one motion this evening by Councilor Elliott, request that the Veterans Commission identify and recommend an appropriate way to honor Walter Bayless. Second by Councilor Leary. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will be brief because I think Councilor Mercia eulogized or recognized Wally so suitably. And there's really not much more that I could add. I just think it's important. And you know what, I guess what's interesting is Wally wouldn't want this. This would probably be the last thing that he wanted. But he did so much for so many veterans behind the scene, and the last thing he wanted was to be in the spotlight. But I think it's, he had such love for his family and his country, and he never forgot where he came from, and always helping those that needed it, no matter who you were. I think that really is a sign of a person that we shouldn't and we want to honor. We honor so many veterans, and rightfully so, the motion asks the Veterans Council to work with the veterans, who's a member of, the Veterans Age is a member of that Veterans Commission, that they look into, a suitable way, whether it's the Vietnam Memorial, something that would stand up and recognize Wally or Mr. Bayless for all of his contributions to the veterans. Maybe to be his tractor, who knows? He loved his tractors, but I don't want to belabor the issue any longer, but that's the essence of the motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. That concludes the regular agenda. Now we go to announcements. Do we have any announcements? Councilor Marcia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. With all the voting that's taken place throughout the city, we had a chance to vote some time ago. I'd like to compliment a job well done by the election office, Etta Matchek and her staff, the commissioners, all the people that do the voting counts, the wardens and clerks. Quite a tremendous undertaking, and I voted like a week ago at the senior center out of my area, but I was nearby and I happened to stop in. They had it right under control. Everything was so smoothly done. Not an easy task to pull off. They're there right now. They've been going for weeks at a time. They deserve the compliment. Having said that, on Saturday, November 12th, from 5 to 8 p.m., the Ancient York Lodge, which is at the Masonic Temple, will offer a free pasta and meatball and garlic bread dinner to all the veterans. They will feed free all the veterans, and they asked me to bring this message forward since November 11th will be Veterans Day. On Friday, Saturday is another event for the veterans, and again on Saturday, November 12th, there will be a veterans cookout from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the VFW Hall at 190 Plain Street in Lowell, sponsored by the Tewksbury Home Depot. They'll have hot dogs, hamburgers, beans, dessert, and coffee, and a raffle for all the veterans. They say they would love to serve those who have served. So I thought that would be fitting, and if anybody knows a veteran, this is an honor of them, all veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further announcements? Counselor Milanazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there a Veterans Day breakfast this Friday? VFW on Plain
Yes.
Street?
Yes,
From 10 until 12, 10 until 12, I think.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I just want to make sure Friday, I think it's 10. We can,
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Mr.
The
Manager.
VFW on
I'll
Plain
find out the details, and I'll email the councilors on the details for Friday's breakfast.
Street. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn by Counselor Rourke, seconded by Counselor Samaras. All in favor, all opposed? Stand adjourned at 7:12.